Look, the reality is in every draft, things happen that surprise people.
Right.
What we're trying to do today is just tell you bold predictions. Some of them are fun. Some of them we feel might be realistic. But the reality is none of them could happen.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise either of us. But here's some bold predictions for the 2021 NFL draft. I will go first. And the first one is, for me, Penei Sewell falls in the draft. He's going to fall.
Okay.
People will go for other positional needs. That's one part of it.
Okay.
And the Raiders will trade up in the top 10 to draft him. Okay.
Right.
So the reason why this makes sense, in my opinion, is because what do we hear about all offseason for the Raiders? Feels like they lost every starter on their offensive line.
Okay.
Right? We were like, oh, okay, well, there goes, okay, there goes that guy. And then just slowly but surely their offensive line completely disintegrated. It was like that week in last year's season where they all got COVID and just none of them played. Like that's pretty much permanently their offensive line right now.
Right. That's exactly what happened.
For me, Derek Carr isn't the problem. I think if they had a more solid offensive line, then it would significantly help their chances to compete. Yeah. Now, the only issue with this theory is that their defense is just absolutely trash. It's awful. Right. So the obvious pick would be something defensively.
Right.
But in my opinion, this is something that could potentially happen. I think they see him as I think every team sees him as a generational talent. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, I just feel like when you look at the draft, every team that you start to look at, you think, oh no, like they're probably not going to take Sewell. There's positional needs that make sense instead. Right. So I think potentially Sewell could drop and the Raiders could be there to snatch him up.
Look, I'm just looking through the draft here, draft order. It's interesting that into the top 10, that means one of these teams are going to come down.
Yeah.
Right? You know, Dallas, I can probably see that happening, but maybe there's a lot of talk that J.C. Horn could be going to Dallas, and Dallas like J.C. Horn, he could be the first defensive player.
Or they could trade down and get him later.
Yeah, or they can do that. Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Dallas is going to trade down, Raiders trade up.
Right.
Another team that's also in talks as well, the trading down, which the most recent news was the Miami Dolphins. Have you heard of that?
I heard of that. I mean, the teams when I made this prediction that made sense to me was Carolina, if Pitts is gone, Denver if there's not a quarterback they like, and Dallas if Pitts is gone.
Okay.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, it's a massive need for this team, in my opinion. And I personally, I think we both agree he's the best tackle in the draft. Some people say Slater.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. So then if Penei Sewell falls, let's say he falls outside of the top 5. You know, there's a lot of talks that he goes in the top 5. If he falls outside the top 5, Detroit picks him, blah, blah. Rashawn Slater, does Vegas go for Rashawn Slater now, the second best tackle in the draft?
Maybe. I just, Mike Mayock talked about him a little bit today.
Yeah, that's funny.
You know, it's funny. We were watching some old drafts. He's great on television.
Yeah, fantastic.
But did not make some good draft moves.
No.
In his first year as a GM there in Vegas, drafted Cleveland Farrell. See, that was if someone said bold prediction, Cleveland Farrell's going to the Raiders, they would have nailed it.
Yeah.
It was a terrible pick.
Absolutely terrible.
Anyway, what's your first bold prediction for the draft there, Badake?
Bold prediction coming through. Mind you, I don't know if Zach said this. We don't know each other's bold predictions.
No, we don't.
Okay. We didn't sit down and have a conversation about this. This is the first time we're both presenting each other's bold predictions. And my bold prediction is that the Steelers trade up.
Okay.
And get a quarterback.
Okay. Interesting.
And obviously Big Ben is on his last days. He probably has 1 or 2 years in him. And
he's on his last legs. Shout out to Alex Smith.
What a career.
What a career from the GOAT himself. Okay, so the Steelers trade up. Who are they drafting then?
Look, and it's really the best available quarterback, and I think it's going to be out of the top 5.
Okay, so obviously you think they draft like they would have to move up high then.
Exactly, and this is my thought process.
Okay,
Okay, looking into the draft order, they have to get in before Denver.
Yeah.
So before 9.
Mm-hmm.
So if Pitts is out, it's a perfect opportunity for them to go up, take 8 at Carolina. Or obviously there's talks that Miami's trying to trade down. I don't know if they want to trade down that far, but that's also an opportunity.
Yeah.
And
that's the big issue here.
Yeah. And that is the big issue. But I do think that they get a quarterback. I don't think it's not that I'm not excited about all the potentials coming out or going into the draft next year. I think this talent here is really rare.
Totally.
And every team has to take advantage of this. And I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are a great organization. They have history with quarterbacks. They've always had a great quarterback. You need to get a quarterback.
Yeah.
And whether that is Trey Lance or Justin Fields, if he doesn't get picked.
Wait a second. They just got a quarterback this offseason.
He's not
Dwayne
great.
Haskins.
Great leader.
The future. Amazing leader. I hear the strip clubs in Pittsburgh are amazing. So that's why he chose it. No, jokes. All jokes aside, I wish the best of luck to Dwayne Haskins. It's an interesting take. I think the only, people watching at home probably say, no one's trading down to 23.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
And that's the Steelers' downfall, is that they're so far down that I'm not sure that they're going to want, or any team is going to want to fall back that hard. But I thought of somebody, like I said, the Miami Dolphins, they have so much draft capital in the next coming years.
Yeah.
Then maybe they could take a hit this year. Because if my thought process is, if they don't get Jamar Chase, you're going to get Kyle Pitts. Cool. You have Mike Gesicki. Not saying that Mike Gesicki is an X factor or he can change that offense, but you have to think about the pieces that you have now and who you could be getting later. Yeah. And I think that's somebody, or for the Miami Dolphins perspective, they can trade down and they have the best opportunity to get draft capital for the next year.
Here's what I'll say, anyone who's saying there's no way this happens, anything can happen any draft. And when you think about it, the Steelers are a great team. What have they not got? A future franchise quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So
they have all the pieces in place.
If it would take a lot of draft capital, maybe they are comfortable to take that risk and actually trade significant amount of capital to move up that high. It wouldn't surprise me. And what you said is so true, where this draft class is so deep at quarterback. It's what's the word? It's early. It's top heavy. Yeah. Beautiful word. Wow. It's top heavy, and there's so much talent in this quarterback class that we don't know will be there next year. Now, granted, Joe Burrow, no one knew Joe Burrow at the beginning of his college year before he became the first overall pick. Right. So anything can happen, right? Zach Wilson rised up this year. So anything can happen, but it's true. This draft class, it's very rare. Normally every draft you feel really good about one, maybe two quarterbacks.
Right.
Whereas in this draft, we could potentially see 4 to 5, let's say 4 max superstar quarterbacks. Yeah, could happen.
And that's the thing. Go and get that quarterback. Same thing. I can put the same scenario for Washington, even though there's talks about them.
Yeah.
I think the reason why I chose the Steelers was because everyone's like, Najee is going to go to the Steelers.
Yeah.
Najee is going to go to the Steelers. But there's so much talent and running back as well that maybe the Steelers can get somebody in the second round.
Or maybe they could trade back into the first. They're just going to give away all their draft capital. Bold prediction, the Steelers will not draft for the next 5 years. Okay, I like it. All right. My second bold prediction for the 2021 NFL draft is the New Orleans Saints draft Kyle Trask, 28th overall. There's a 2-part to this. Mm-hmm. And they move up to draft Kadarius Toney. Okay. I see your face.
Wait, I'm confused. So they're going to get they're going to bring their second round pick. They're going to trade a second round pick to come back up to the first?
No, I think that they will trade up in the second round.
Right.
To get Toney. So with a 28th overall pick, they take Kyle Trask. Now, why does Kyle Trask make sense? Or why does this move make sense for the Saints? Couple reasons. Similar to the Steelers, the Saints are a really great team. Mm-hmm. All around, they're a really great team. The jury is still technically out on Jameis Winston, right? Technically. However, I think we both would agree that he's not going to ever win a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
so
correct.
If you're I guarantee you Sean Payton has thought of this. If you're in a place where your team is good enough to win a Super Bowl, except for your quarterback play, like what is the harm in giving up capital or using a first round pick rather on a guy who could potentially lead you to Super Bowl? Why do I say that? I say that because Kyle Trask, we have seen history of him supporting stars.
Right. You're right.
Kyle Pitts, right?
Star before he's even a star.
Right? Kyle Pitts is we're talking about him like he's the next Travis Kelce, even better maybe. Kadarius Toney. Toney's potentially a first round pick, maybe early second. So when I look at the contrast between where Kyle Trask was last year and the stars he had around him and where he would be in New Orleans with Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, and then Kadarius Toney, we've seen him been able to support stars and win football games. So for me, it makes sense because you can place him into your team that's already great. You have a great team. If Drew Brees was 5 years younger, this would be a Super Bowl favorite maybe. Or they would at least be competing with the Bucs in the NFC. Okay. So for me, if you know that Jameis is never going to win you Super Bowl, look, Taysom Hill's great, but he's not going to be the quarterback to win a Super Bowl. If you know you're capped there, but you're pretty good in almost every other position. Like there are needs, but there's nowhere that you're terrible at. Like last year, they took a center, or maybe 1 or 2 years ago, they took a center and everyone was like, they already have a great offensive line. And people were like, well, they don't really need positions, you know? So for me, that's where that thought process comes. And then with Kadarius Toney, give Trask a guy he's familiar with. Not only a guy he's familiar with, but Toney himself could be an X factor in kick returns, punt returns, but also to Emmanuel Sanders is gone. Take over the Emmanuel Sanders role and kind of give Michael Thomas more opportunities to be great at what he's at.
Yeah, well, they kind of need that wide receiver too there. Yeah. That's the big question mark. I think that's a big hole they have to fill, and Kadarius Toney could fill that role. It's just, can that quarterback, whether it's Kyle Trask, Winston, or Hill, feed the ball to him? Because obviously all eyes are going to be on Michael Thomas and Kamara. Yep. You know, you stack the box and double team Michael Thomas.
And this is great because you signed Jameis to a 1-year deal, right? Jameis was 1 year, right? So you have the opportunity to let Trask sit the entire year.
Right.
And then next year, he's got all the experience, he can step in. And like Trask's numbers are insanely impressive, by the way. I didn't realize this, but when we actually started to scout him and look at his tape, his logs, dude balled out, like for real. Yeah. He had one terrible game where he threw 3 interceptions in the playoffs. And I think that's significantly affected how people look at him.
Right.
But anyway, could be fun. What's your second?
Yeah, it could be fun. Look.
Could be fun. That's what they're saying in the draft war room. Hey guys, this could be fun.
No, this could be fun. And my thought process, this is my thought process, and maybe I'm a little bit biased here in this bold prediction. But my bold prediction is that Elijah Moore will be the second wide receiver off the board.
Oh my!
And let me tell you why. Okay,
this is the one that you said. People are not going to like this.
Yeah, and the reason why I say this is because Elijah Moore is, in my opinion, Tyreek Hill with fresher legs. He's younger.
Oof.
I'm not saying he's as fast as Tyreek. He did run a 4.35, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Let me just double check. Yeah, 4.35.
Yep.
He has upside. Okay. And this is what the NFL is turning to. Speedsters. You know, small slot receiver speedsters that can do damage in space and can also blow away or run past the secondary. And Elijah Moore can do that. If you haven't seen Elijah Moore's pro day, if you haven't seen Elijah Moore's hype tape, if you haven't seen Elijah Moore's highlights.
His film, though.
Yeah, I was just saying highlights. Film.
Not highlight. When you film, don't just watch highlights, guys. That's all the good things.
If you actually watch what he does, he's really special.
Yeah.
Okay, and I believe I'm not saying he's the second best wide receiver in this draft class. I'm saying he fits the NFL mold for where the wide receiver the wide receivers in the NFL are moving to, like a Tyreek Hill, like the smaller Julian Edelman, the Wes Welkers of the world. So I think there is.
You're
potential.
really high on Elijah. You're very high.
I love Elijah Moore, and this. I see the Chargers. I like the Chargers, and obviously you're probably saying, well, what about Devonta Smith? What about Jalen Waddle? I think I'm going to dig myself a grave here, but I want to say they can be very one-dimensional. And when I say one-dimensional, I'm saying that
we're definitely
digging
the grave.
And when I say one-dimensional,
grave digger,
I'm saying that it's hard to see. I'm sorry. It's hard to see me.
Badake is down bad right now.
It's hard to see Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle, even though I love them, because I do have them going, both those guys in 2 different mock drafts going to the Giants.
Yeah.
I do see those guys only being one role player, where that's just fine. And I think that's what a lot of players kind of tend to do in the NFL, and they are successful. But I think
one trick pony.
Yeah. And I think Elijah Moore can be more versatile in that in an offense.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to agree with you on this one.
That's why it's bold.
That's why it is bold. I mean, yeah, look, this actually is a great segue to my final bold prediction.
Okay.
Because you talked about the Chargers. Okay. Now, this is also a 2-part. Okay. This is a
2-part, 3-part.
I'm the king of the 2 parts, part 2. Great song on one of Kanye's albums. Okay, so here's my last bold prediction. Chargers take the 3rd wide receiver in the draft, and they select Rondale Moore over Jalen Waddle. Okay, so that means that the first 2 would have been Jamar Chase, Devonta Smith. Okay, and people are thinking, oh my God, Chargers on the clock, right? Probably going to be looking at Devonta Smith here, Jalen Waddle.
Right.
I think that I actually think there's a great chance Rondale Moore is the 3rd wide receiver off the board.
Okay. I'm just looking I'm looking at the draft.
I'm thinking, you probably see Elijah Moore higher. I see Rondale Moore higher. And the reality is, if Rondale had the injury history that Elijah did, then it wouldn't be a competition. Like, Rondale Moore would maybe be the best wide receiver in this draft. He might go overall number 1.
At 5'7"?
At 5'7". And here's the reason why. You said Elijah Moore, people, what's true about what you said? And look, where we have bold predictions, they're going to be different. But what's true about what you said is everyone is looking for Tyreek Hill, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is looking for their Tyreek Hill.
Right.
In my opinion, this year's Tyreek Hill, there's only one person that it can be. It's Rondale Moore. Rondale Moore has the big body. He's super muscular. Just like look at his pro day. You can see the measurements are insane. And then watch his film. You can see the kind of things that this kid can do. In my opinion, and let's be clear, I do think that Waddle is the better wide receiver.
Right.
But I think that in this bold prediction, I personally believe that NFL teams see Rondale Moore much higher than media is allowed to lead on. I don't know if that's the right word, but the maybe media is currently capturing. I really feel like NFL teams are looking at Rondale Moore and saying that is the Tyreek Hill mold. Like, that is the guy we want on our team.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's Tyreek 2.0.
And, what we know for sure is that something is going to happen that's going to surprise us with this wide receiver crew, right? Last year, what was the big surprise? No one had Ruggs really as the best wide receiver in the draft.
He was the first one taken.
Right. Why was he the first one taken? Because Vegas said, we want our Tyreek Hill.
Mike Mayock said, wow.
Yeah. But the issue is Ruggs was never going to be Tyreek Hill. He's still going to be a good player, but he's not the build of a Tyreek.
No.
Look at his body. Now, Rondale Moore isn't as tall as Tyreek, but his build and his gameplay is more the mold of a Tyreek Hill than any other player we've seen in the last maybe 3 or 4 years. So put him on the Chargers, allow him to give Herbert a higher ceiling. Offensive line is better there. Keenan Allen on the outside, Mike Williams on the other, and then Rondale Moore in the slot moving around, maybe playing a little bit in the backfield, alternating with Austin Eckler. And I think personally, in my opinion, NFL teams are enamored with Rondale Moore. We're just not hearing about it.
Yeah. I think his biggest downfall is his size.
Yeah.
And, I think it's kind of like the Devonta Smith thing. He's not your prototypical build either. And I think that's why he's going to fall.
What's also the difference there is Rondale's injury history is like a shopping list.
And I was just looking at...
It's like that CVS shopping list that you get. It just never stops. And then your shopping list is like, I don't know, the size of your car. And you go home and your mom's like, what did you buy? And you're like, chapstick. I got chapstick. It's just a bunch of coupons.
How fast was Rondale Moore's 40?
He was like 4.27. Let me look it up.
Because I'm just looking at Tyreek. Tyreek did a 4.29 in his 40.
Yeah, let me look this up. But I'm pretty certain it was like a 4.2.
Yeah, 4.29.
4.29.
4.29. Anthony Schwartz, by the way.
Yeah.
4.26.
Yeah, just he's not really, he doesn't look comfortable playing wide receiver. That's the issue.
Right.
He just looks like an out of body experience.
Out of body experience.
Out of body.
All right, look.
That's the way I feel when I'm around you, shawty. Shout out to Drizzy Drake. All right. What's your last
and final bold prediction? And once again, I could be digging myself a grave here, but Najee Harris will be the 5th overall running back taken.
What?
In the draft.
Is this clickbait? What's going on?
It's not. Now? Let me tell you my order. I'm not gonna. There's no particular order.
Are you saying taken or like talent wise?
No, there's going to be 4 running backs ahead of Najee Harris as taken.
Oh my God.
That's what I'm saying.
This is the boldest prediction.
And there's no particular order, and I'm not knocking on Najee Harris' talent. I'm just saying maybe. Once again, I look at the NFL, the molds. Not that Najee Harris doesn't have that mold. They want smaller, faster, more agile, a pass catching back. Not saying Najee isn't a pass catching back.
Yeah, he's great at that.
I'm just saying I think this is what the NFL is looking for. Javonte Williams, not in no particular order. Javonte Williams, Michael Carter, Kenneth Gainwell,
Etienne,
and Travis Etienne. Those are the 4 that my prediction could be going ahead of him. And I you know what, I'm going to add a part 2. Najee Harris I don't know if this is a bold prediction because I've seen a lot of mocks, but he's going to fall to the 2nd.
Okay.
And there's no particular reason. I just personally believe that there's other talent in the mold.
Okay.
For that NFL running back.
I'm struggling.
You're struggling, but
I'm struggling. See, Bold would have been saying like he's the 3rd running back taken. That would have been bold.
You know why I didn't say it? Because I was going to do that. I was going to do 3rd, and I was like, but everyone has that already. Yeah. Everyone has Javonte Williams and Travis Etienne ahead. So is that really bold? No. So we're going to add 2 more in front of him.
Yeah.
So that's bold.
That is maybe too bold, ladies and gentlemen.
But you never know.
You know what? If anyone, you could probably place $10 on that in Vegas and make like $1 million in return. But the issue is you're probably going to lose $10.
$10 I'm willing to lose.
Oh, well, you don't like Najee?
I know. I like Najee. I love Najee. I think Najee is going to be taken 3rd running back.
Okay.
I do agree with that.
Okay.
I do think Travis is going to be Travis, Javonte Williams, or Michael Carter ahead of him, and then Najee.
Okay.
That's my opinion. Like I said, I just see the NFL is changing. We all know that. Nobody wants a stay in the pocket quarterback anymore. Yeah. Nobody wants a running back that's going to catch or not catch the ball and have agility and be able to run away from defenders.
Yeah.
I mean, they want somebody now that's fast. Like I said, they want that now. And Najee is that, but he's the bigger body.
Yeah.
Where all of these guys that I mentioned before him.
Some people would say, well, he's a total package.
Some people. He is a total package. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see if any of these predictions come true. Because, wow, we got real bold.
That's what you want. You want a bonus?
That was bold and you turned the italics on. Like, that wasn't just bold. You were like, let's put the italics in. We'll underline it as well. It's like, when you're in middle school and you're like, you just learned how to use Microsoft Word. You're like bold and italic and underlined.
Wait, that was, I actually used to do that.
Yeah, see, I'm telling you. I know.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the best of fantasy football. We got some more videos as well if you're feeling like it. And lastly, don't forget that you can support us and unlock exclusive content by signing up to our Patreon, patreon.com/fantasylandfam.